Well, I've been moving on. I mounted the board. There's little plastic standoffs, and using some of the longer bolts, and got that all mounted on. You'll notice the holes. You get all 4 holes lined up, and there's a bunch of other holes. I don't know if it's for different boards or what, but yeah. And I got the power supply mounted. And this is a power switch down here. I've got that all put in. Pretty straightforward. You just find the holes. There's little threaded holes in the power supply, and these bolts, or these screws, are the short ones in the bag. There's a whole bunch of them, and I only use 3 of them. But you put the short ones in because they won't go through as far, and there's no risk of, like, if you used a real long one, it could go in far enough and possibly hit the board inside, which it could be high voltage, so you wouldn't want to do that. Mounted the LCD. Pretty straightforward, just using the same nuts and bolts, and all this stuff you can go through in any order you want. You know, it doesn't matter. Just one thing at a time. Put the power supply and the switch in, and then put the motherboard on the ramps board, and just one thing at a time. Just keep plugging along. I hate wiring, but anyway, yeah. The easiest way I've found to do this is to just do a Google search for GT2560. That's the model of the board, and you'll come up with a few images, I think, and find the image that has the exploded view, and it tells you where, like, the thermistors plug in, where the heat bed plugs in. The main power goes right there. You got all these end stops. Now when you hook the end stops up, all of these end stops on this machine are to the minimum. So like Z minimum, X minimum. Just put them in the slot for the minimum direction. Like there's X, that's the 3rd one down, that's Y, and the 5th one down, that's Z minimum. And then these are all the motor connections go right here. You got 2 of them right here for Z. They're right top and bottom of each other. And then this is X and Y. But yeah, that's the easiest way I've found to figure out the wiring. Here's the SD card and the LCD. They plug in right here. Not really sure if they're labeled all that great, but if they don't work one way, you just pull them out and swap them, and they will work. Yeah, so just look for that online. Get your computer out and do a search, and then start wiring it. Yeah, and have fun wiring, because there's a lot of extra, and it's really hard to make it look clean because there's so much extra wire, but take your time and just kind of, like, I like to wrap things up around the standoffs behind the board. I'll just do a few loops and then plug it in. There's a lot of zip ties. They give you a whole lot of zip ties, so you can zip tie wires up, and you will want to. I'm just now trying to clean up the end stop wires a little bit, and yeah, I'll get this wiring going and bring it back and show you, I guess. Yeah. Okay. So now we're putting the extruder on. What I found is the nuts I've been using, or the screws I've been using, are just a little too long. See, there's quite a bit of thread on there. And they go, if you look between the motor and this mount, there's not a lot of space in there to get to let the screw like hang out, and it's too long. So what I've been doing is I take the screw and I thread one nut on the back side, and that just takes up a few millimeters, you know, of the screw. Got the extruder on and all wired in, and it is heating, so that is excellent. I don't have any filament run to it yet, but I just wanted to test out that, you know, if it wasn't heating, then definitely wasn't hooked up right. Ooh, that is hot. And yeah, everything's going good. Yeah, I think that'll do it for the electronics. It's all pretty straightforward. Just remember to look for that GT2560 board and plug things in where they go. It's pretty simple, I guess. And take your time, do some creative wiring, and yeah. Now, the next video, I guess it'll be a three-parter. I will show how to get the file, how to download it onto Cura, and what settings to set this at that work good for me. Alrighty.